Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today we are taking a look at the latest and greatest Civivi, that being the Civivi Ortis. I was going to hold off till Monday to bring this to you guys, but I just couldn't wait. I thought Sunday would be a good day while everyone's sitting at home relaxing, hopefully. Hopefully you guys are having a nice relaxing day, but this was just too good to hold off on. I wanted to get it to you guys as soon as I could. Carried this around for a full day yesterday. Actually ran it through some cutting, and I freaking love it. Before we get too deep into it, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, follow along, and you know the drill. I will continue to bring you some content, some good content you will like and hopefully love. Now, let's go over some specs on this knife. We have an overall length of 7.50 inches, a blade length coming in at 3.25 inches, blade width at 1 inch, blade thickness at 0.12 inches, blade material of Damascus with a 9 CR18 MOV base, and of course there's obviously models a little less fancy than this one. I did get the more blinged out version for good reason. I will explain that here later. But there's also other versions available with FRN scales, FRN handles, and a 9 CR18 MOV blade. This blade style is a clip point. Little bit of a Bowie look going on to it as well, with a very nice hollow grind, handle length at 4.25 inches, handle width at 0.875 inches, handle thickness coming in at 0.47 inches, handle material, the real deal Holyfield, full-blown carbon fiber, very, very nice. Talk a lot about this here in a second as well. A weight of 2.87 ounces, which is not bad at all. A right hand or left hand tip up carry, and a price for this version coming in at $89.25. The more plain Jane version with the FRN scales and 9CR18 MOV blade is coming in at $39.95. Not too bad at all. Now let's go over some size comparisons to get a much better idea of just what we're dealing with here. And I can't get this. I can't get it to sit up right, so we're gonna just kind of do that right there. Let's take a look at some knives here with it. We have the TRM Atom, as well as the Giant Mouse Ace Biblio. As you can see, somewhere in between those two. I wouldn't call ergos aren't very similar to the Atom. At first I thought they may be, but the Atom is just such a thin knife. Very thin handle, so not a huge comparison there as far as ergos go. These ones here are just kind of for size comparisons. Two pretty good ones. And let's move on to a few more. Let's take a look at some Spydercos. We have the Smock, and we have the... Whoa, I messed up a Spidey flick on a PM2. God, let's just restart the day. So there you go. Paramilitary 2 considerably bigger, and the Smock is also a bit longer as well. And now let's take a look at a couple other very popular ones. The Benchmade Bug Out, which is a pretty close comparison, as well as the Quiet Carry Waypoint. Easily one of the greatest knives of the year. Love this piece. As you can see right there, very similar in overall length to both of those pieces as well. And now let's surround it with some Civivi family. We've got the Civivi Insight. Gonna have a little Damascus party here too. And we have the Civivi McKenna. Look at that Damascus beauty. Nice, right in between both of those two in size. Ergos are kind of like a slimmed down Insight, in all honesty, or minimized, made smaller. Blah, I can't think of the word. It's kind of early on a Sunday, and I had a long Saturday. I won't go into too much depth on that, but I'm feeling it. We'll just put it that way. But here you go. There's some good size comparisons. Now let's talk about this blade and the rest of this knife, because there's a lot of good things to say. We'll just start off with the fact that it is a very sexy clip point / Bowie blade. You Could probably go either way. This knife reminds me a lot of the Dogma in many, many ways. I'll break that down a little further here in a second. But this blade, as good as it looks, it slices even better because we are coming in at 12 thousandths behind the edge with a very, very nice hollow grind. So again, Civivi kind of doing the budget flex here and doing a very good job of it. This is also my first Civivi blade with the black rub Damascus, and I absolutely love it. It looks absolutely amazing. The detail is nice. There's no real blurred parts. It's a very, very attractive Damascus, and paired with all the other blacks and dark grays of this carbon fiber, this is an absolute home run for me as far as aesthetics and looks go. I can't say I like all my knives to look like this because this is pretty flashy, but I really like it when just a couple of them do. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. I also really like the cutout on the blade. Not necessarily something that I can get my fingers in. Anyone with skinnier fingers or fingers with actual real fingernails, you could probably Spidey flick this. I've seen other people do it. Again, very similar to what used to be the Dogma. I noticed Civivi made some changes to the Dogma, and they got rid of the cutout, and they put more of like just a little fuller up there, which I as far as the looks go, I don't mind. I don't know how I feel about them changing the design of a knife and still calling it the Dogma, though. If you guys have followed along with that, I'm sure you've noticed it as well. There's been new models of the Dogma come out that look different. They basically have a different design on the blade. I kind of question whether or not it should still be called the Dogma. Not a big fan of changing the design of a knife after you've already released it, making it look different and keeping it the same name. A little weird, but regardless, I'm getting off track here. This is basically the same type of cutout that was on the Dogma. Very similar blade, just shortened down from 3.5 to 3.25, which I actually really, really, really love this blade length. This is kind of an excellent EDC blade length for not just me, but I think a lot of other people like the 3.25 range very much as well. This also has a very, very nice finger choil that won't get ahead on the ergos, but it definitely helps the ergos a lot. Just enough to get a full finger in there with no worry of cutting your finger. And this also has very nice jimping on the flipper tab, as you can see right here, which makes deploying this knife very easy. Civivi is one company that I don't think they've ever messed up jimping on a knife. They always have the right jimping in the right spots, at least on the flipper tab. This doesn't have jimping up here. Could it use some? Again, I'm a proponent that all knives could always use jimping on the spine and flipper tab, but especially the flipper tab, and they did a very good job of that here. And onto the handles and ergos, where they are really, really using some nice carbon fiber, and it's full carbon fiber. This is not a laminate. This is the real deal, and it feels great. It's very nice and smooth above the fake bolster line area. It's nice and smooth up here, but down on the actual handle, as you can see, I'm pretty sure you can see that, very nice texturing that is surprisingly grippy. Feels great in hand, truly does provide some good grip, and it's put in a direction to where your fingers really feel it too. It's going the right way. It was done very, very well, and it looks amazing. The light reflecting off this carbon fiber looks great. Adds just enough pop, and I don't necessarily want to say shine, but I guess it is kind of a shine, just a reflection from the light. It works. It just really works. Here's a better angle of the milling, and the milling on this side is exact same on this side. For some reason, you can just see it better on this side. I don't know why that is, because it feels exactly the same on both sides. Another thing worth noting is the pocket clip on this Civivi is new. They went with a new pocket clip, and I have to say, let me pull out the McKenna here to compare the McKenna, and let's see. How do we do that to make this work? Here we go. So as you can see, the McKenna up here is more just flat, and it has kind of just a little, it kind of rounds up, and then is also flat at the top here. But down here on the new Ortis, it's a little more, it's kind of rounded going down, and then also round straight up to just a very little amount of flatness at the top of the ramp there. And I think aesthetically, looks-wise, I really do like this, the new Ortis clip better. But one thing I will say about this clip is that it does, and you can see they're very similar, but it also gets a little slimmer down to the top of the ramp too, as to where the old one stays the same width. But one thing that I do notice on this is you definitely feel the end of this ramp up here on your finger, or on your hand when you have it in hand. My whole thing with this knife, though, is especially this model with the Damascus, this isn't exactly going to be a hard-use beater knife for me. It's going to be more of a gentleman's carry, and yes, I will call this a gentleman's carry. I know it has an aggressive blade, but I think this is suited up very nicely to be a gentleman's carry. I think this would look great for a nice dress-up night, kind of flashy, too. Adds a nice little flash to your style for the day, I guess, but I think it looks really good, and I would consider this a gentleman's carry. But you do feel it in the hand. But again, like I said, being a gentleman's carry, you're probably not going to go chop down a tree with it. So you don't really, for my uses of this knife, I don't mind feeling that a little bit there, because I know I'm not going to use it hard enough to where it's ever going to cause a blister or mess up any part of my hand. So it's not the end of the world to me, but these new pocket clips, I think everyone will notice if they do start to put them on other Civivi models, that you will feel that ramp a little in your palm when you're carrying it, and that's when it's just going to come down to personal preference as to what exactly you find to be a true hotspot. Again, I technically would not call this a true hotspot, but it's getting pretty close. It's getting pretty close to being a hotspot, and if it was a hard user, let's say this was on the Elementum or something like that, or a Praxis or whatever your EDC Civivi is, you may not like this clip. You may feel a little more of an abrasion there where this ramp point is. But all in all, I do kind of like the way it looks. You have a little more room up there. It carries just fine. Carries very similar to the Elementum. Very similar, actually. I think it, in my pocket, I didn't really feel a difference at all. Carried just fine. The pocket, it's not really a pocket pecker in my opinion, but the flipper tab is nice and small. While it does have jimping on the back there, if you do reach down deep enough, maybe you'll feel it a little on your pinky. But again, I've never really considered that the end of the world. It's got to be a pretty big freaking flipper tab to really annoy me and bother me like that. One thing that I kind of wish Civivi would have done on this model is kind of calm down the C on the Civivi pivot. I kind of wish this would have either been blacked out or some type of darker gray there. It would have went perfect with the overall knife. It's a little highlighted with everything being a darker gray or a black. And this is just, your typical regular Civivi that they put on most of them. And I know why they do it. I think I've said it before in another video. They just have so many of them laying around. They're not going to waste the time and resources to do anything to just this little C pivot on a budget knife. I guess I kind of get it, but I don't really like it. I really wish this was blacked out. I think if this was blacked out, this knife would be perfect. Everything else on the handle is blacked out, including the other side of the pivot. If this was blacked out, it would just be, it would be perfect. Absolutely phenomenal if they could do that. This also has a nice little hidden lanyard hole down here at the bottom. Let me close the blade real quick. And as you can see right there, nice little hidden lanyard hole where you can tie your lanyard on. And yeah, so if you're a lanyard person, that will hopefully float your boat. Should probably like that a lot. But really, I would not put a lanyard with this. This knife is too badass the way it is for a lanyard. I think it's perfect just like this. And here we go into the action where, of course, it's fantastic. Should not be any surprise there. Civivi has just figured out that equation, and they've stuck to it, and they've done a very good job of sticking to it. The detent's perfect and crisp. Just fantastic. No issues with the action whatsoever. It is more of just a flipper to me. Like I said, though, that's really the only thing that I kind of was disappointing to me about this was I could not work this this little cutout here with my fingers. I just couldn't do it. Definitely not my thumb. and even my index and middle finger flick, it just wasn't really working for me. So I just kind of left it at that, and I don't mind because it's such a nice, true flipper. I'm okay with it just being a flipper. I really have no issue with that. I've always liked the little aggressive texturing down here under the liner lock, or on the liner lock too. That also helps give you a nice grip and purchase, whether you're holding it like this or you choke up. Either way, you do feel it, and I think that does make a bit of a difference. And it's not too aggressive to where it bothers your finger, so that's always been nice on Civivis. I think that kind of gets lost in the talk sometimes because there's so many positive things to say about a Civivi. But that always is nice to point out again and again. This, of course, as usual, is almost perfectly centered. Maybe I think it's favoring the show side just the ever so slightest amount to where I could really care less. If you look at it here, kind of hard to get this part in focus. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, now, I mean, if it's favoring show side, it's just by a smidgen. I mean, if anything. So centering's good. No blade play whatsoever. Never had a Civivi with blade play. Don't think I ever will. The lockup is very good with the liner. So all in all, a fantastic piece by Civivi. I think this is easily one of the best Civivis, and if I had to slot it into my top 10, if you guys go back, I have a top 10 Civivis ranked. I would put this in at number 3, right behind the other two knives that I showed earlier, that being the Insight and the McKenna. So I would definitely say the best, second best, third best right here. I think these right here are your 3 best Civivis. Rather easily, in my opinion. And the more I carry this guy, it may get up a little higher in those ranks. I really like the ergos and feel of this guy. I like the blade length. I like the blade design, and I love this outfit on this model. The black hand rub Damascus and the carbon fiber scales, true full carbon fiber scales. They really are kind of a showstopper when it comes to a knife under $100. Yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I would actually recommend this one over the $40 9CR version with FRN scales. I don't have a huge problem with FRN. I'm not a big fan of the bolster they put in here, but I think the bolster is much, much cooler on this model because you have the milling and you have the carbon fiber that kind of takes away from the little line here, and the texture adds a little bit extra of a reflection and look to the carbon fiber when light's reflecting off it, and it just kind of, like I said, it helps hide it, and it just gives it a lot more character and really makes this a really nice piece to show off without breaking the budget. So I think this is an excellent option. If this doesn't float your boat, then I think the $39.95 version with the 9CR and FRN is just as good. I saw Slicey Dicey posted a video of that one yesterday, which I'll have to go check out now. It's so hard not to watch some of my favorite YouTubers' videos before I review this knife, which is really the biggest reason why I pushed this forward to today, because I wanted to go watch his video. So now that I have my video up, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go watch Slicey's review on this, and until the next one, I'm out.